Let's talk about things sort of behind the scenes here. We would like to have kept our powder dry until the season proper had finished. That wasn't an opportunity really we had, but...
What's the opportunity? It was exactly what the plan was. Nothing, we haven't made any statements. One, we were duty bound not to make, and a mutually agreed position and a settlement with Dave Pountney, and we honoured our side of it, and that settlement, that severance package was finished last week. With regards to boardroom changes, the information that was put out there, not by us, but through KIST's website, was confidential. The boardroom changes, I told the board on the 23rd of March, the last board meeting we had, I gave them advance warning that we were going to change the structure of the board, because I believe this is a business, and therefore the people that work in the business should have the responsibility of managing that business, like any other company out there. How many other companies of any note are run by committee? None of them. This is a business. So if you are responsible for marketing and media, and you have to hit certain targets, you're responsible for that, you're director of that, and if you don't do it, you're on your bike, right? As nice a person as you might be, those are the facts. Those are the facts. That's how a business runs. And that's how we're going to run this club, so we can afford the budgets to compete against the Salfords, who've got 6 millionaire footballers and a billionaire owner, right? We can't compete against them financially, but we've got to raise our revenue streams. So the fact of the matter is, those people were told that that's the way the club would be run going forward, and they all agreed. But they also agreed they would keep their counsel. And these announcements will be made at the end of the season, because we didn't want to unsettle things with the running going until the end of the season and maybe playoffs to go into. Common sense. I didn't make any announcements about people. I made none. But everybody's judged our position, and I'm a great believer in justice and injustice. And at the moment, I'm really aggrieved, because whenever you're looking for true justice, we are innocent until proven guilty. But if you're actually going to believe all the claptrap that you're given without having the opportunity to find out what the other side is, then there's an imbalance there, then there becomes an injustice. And at the moment I'm sitting here rather aggrieved, rather angry, that there's a massive injustice here. I've not hidden anything from anybody, I've never lied to anybody, nor am I going to, and I don't know what people are getting carried away with, what my motives might be for this football club. And some people question whether I'm actually safe enough to meet their mother-in-law, or their grandmother, I think it was. I don't trust him to meet my grandmother. Well, what does that mean? What don't you trust me for? I'm trying to run a business to make sure this football club can survive, that we can challenge and we can go forward. And we are progressing very nicely all round. I don't know what people want. Because when people set up boycotts, or they are unhappy in any way, they must be fighting for a cause, but no one's actually telling me what that cause is. What do they want? Oh, you're losing 20,000 a year from KIST if you don't have KIST on the board. I've been negotiating with Jeff Coles for a long time with regards to what the relationship going forward would be once we'd announced the board changes. But what happens is, KIST make the announcement that they make, two very good people in Dave Mole and Jeff Coles quit from KIST because of the announcement that was made by KIST, which was in breach of every confidentiality agreement that we had. And they've actually quit. Who do I negotiate with now? I wasn't going to get rid of KIST. I was not going to get rid of the relationship with KIST. We had to change that relationship, but it was a relationship that I was having negotiations with Jeff about. He was the chairman, and he was the person for me to speak about. So I couldn't understand for the life of me why people say, oh, that's it, doesn't want a relationship with KIST. Never mentioned it, never said anything about it, but everybody automatically jumped to conclusions that was what I wanted to do.
So if I said to you, Colin Gordon isn't interested in supportive representation on the board and doesn't want that relationship, that's not true.
It's a load of nonsense. We have a good relationship, but those people do not work in the football club on a daily basis, and therefore we had to change the working relationship between the board and KIST. I want responsibility. Now, talk about responsibility. I want responsibility in the bar. The bar has been an absolute disaster. It's been run by committee, and we had an agreements were a joke, and also our stock taking's down, our float's down, and also when you're thinking two things, incompetence or corruption, right? I can't go around accusing people of corruption without proof, right? But nonetheless, I'm not having incompetence either. So what do? You bring in experts to run the bar, right? We're not barkeepers. security. Responsibility of one of the KISS board members was security, right? It's a disaster. So I had to look closely at what we were doing on security. I brought in an outside group to look at it for over 4 games. The results were horrendous, to the point where we could have been closed down. We hadn't got the right certificates, we hadn't got the right staffing levels, we weren't briefing properly. So what do? I bring in a company who's responsible for that security. I'm not an expert, they are. If they don't do their jobs, I'll get rid of them. But it seems to me that it's always been all right. The classic saying with this football club is, what's the way it's always been? It's all of our money, it's all of our time, and it's all of our mess at the end of the day. So I bring in experts in their fields who will stand up at the end of the day and say, that bar's my responsibility. Well, it's underperforming. I'm sorry, that's not good enough. Either get it right or get out. Security, that's not doing its job properly. Well, if it's your job, you're getting paid for that. If you don't do it right, you're out of here. Marketing and media, any area of the football club, sponsorship, you call it, whatever it might be, even first team manager, first team coach, first team centre forward, everybody's responsible for the ability that they have and the performance they put out. That's the way it will be. Responsibility. Not, oh, that's the way it's always been. So I'm not looking for son-in-laws. I'm not looking for nice people. I'm looking for people who will do their job to the best of their ability, and then we'll reward them if they're very good, and we'll get rid of them if they're very bad. I'm sorry, it's a business. And however it's been in the past, I don't really care.
And for you, is that very important to make the distinction that's very, very separate a matter, the business that is, than the relationship between the football club and its supporters? That's something entirely different, isn't it?
At the end of the day, the football club supporters want what we want, which is success. And if we don't run this football club as a successful business, we've got absolutely no chance of being successful on the football pitch. So what do we want to be? Do we want to be an amateur group of players, coaching staff, run by committee, or do we want to be a professional football club run by professional people? And sometimes you better be careful what you wish for, because if you stand up there and say we want to be as professional as we can be, we want to be in the football league and we want to compete and survive, then tough decisions need to be made. And do you think one day I woke up and thought, I know what I'll do? I'll make changes and I'll get rid of some people because I want all the hassle and the fuss. I knew the consequences of my actions and it didn't sit well with me, but I did weeks of due diligence and asked tons of people who knew, and I made decisions for the benefit of the football club and the benefit of the business of the football club, not for me, so I can upset some KISS members or some members or some supporters. Don't you think I knew what the consequences of my actions would be? But more importantly, did I want to be liked, or did I want to do the right thing for the benefit of the football club? And at the end of the day, that's how I'm going to be judged, on whether I do the right thing for the football club, not whether I come away with the people like me or not. It's not about that. I'm trying to run a business here, a business that we all want to be proud of. And at the moment, we're not doing too bad. We've come a long way in the 2 years that I've been involved in the club, a long, long way. A long way. The product we're putting out there is second to none. We need to be better, we need to improve, and we'll never stop looking to get better in any department. But I'm not looking for pats on the back. I'm not interested in the slightest. We will know in 3, 4, 5 years' time whether I'm right or wrong. One thing I can guarantee is the football club will be in good health, right? And we will be very, very proud of what we do. Very, very proud of what we do. I'm guaranteeing you that's what it will be. Now, for all the people who are queuing up there at the moment, and one thing I'm absolutely 100% sure I'm not going to do ever again is read any social media. I'm having nothing to do with it, because it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating that these people can assassinate you without even knowing you, and assassinate your family without even knowing them. You know, I'm absolutely committed to this football club. Am I kiddie born and bred? No. But was Jan Mulby kiddie born and bred? Was Graham Alder? Was Mike Marsh? No. And this common misconception that, you know, he's a legend and if you cut him he bleeds the club's colours. He's a load of nonsense. Because you know what it is for a footballer? It's a job. It doesn't matter where it is, it's a job. And if people do their jobs well, they leave with legend status because they've done well, and they leave with people's best blessings because they've moved on to better things because they've done well. And we want to create that environment here. The only person who's not going to move on to better things is probably me. If you do your job well, to level, and West Brom phone you tomorrow, you go in that blessing because you've done your job well, you deserve to move on because you're looking for a good reference or a good position on your CV to get better. So does everybody else in this football club, right? Everybody else in this football club is on a career path. Now that doesn't mean they're disloyal. That doesn't mean they're not kiddie people, or not kiddie through and through and don't love the club or whatever. That's a fact of life. If you employ good people, you better be prepared that you might lose them because they're good at their job.
But you're only able to use Kidderminster as a stepping stone, so to speak, if Kidderminster itself is successful, aren't you?
100%. Because the downside of that is what we faced last year, where we had to get rid of people that weren't good enough. Nice people, lovely people. But it cost us nearly £100,000. Right? Those are the facts. So, good people might use you. But while they're using you, you're moving on. And you're going forward. And your job is to find the next good person to replace that good person. That's your job. That's my job. So I'm getting as frustrated as hell, as people can see. This hasn't been teed up, like people blooming, say, oh, well, you ask the nice questions and I'll bat them out the park. As usual, Matt, I've got no interest in being scripted or anything else. If I had interest in how I looked and how I was scripted, I definitely wouldn't have gone outside and looked like I've got more chins than a Chinese phone directory and had hair like Donald Trump. I've got no interest. This is absolutely and utterly from the heart. And every time we've met and spoken, that's been the case. That's the way I am, and that's the way I'm going to be. What I want is for people to do what you're doing now, come and speak to me face to face, and not hide behind a keyboard, and not hide behind somebody else, or not be nice to my face, and then knife me in the back when they go out the room.
You're more than happy to encourage, quite apart from people coming to you and being yes men and being quite... Sometimes people will disagree and will encourage debate, but that's perfectly healthy, isn't it?
It is healthy. But I don't mind them. I have utmost respect for those kind of people. Richard Forsyth and I had a chat with, a legend again, had a chat with a supporter at the end of the game after Sunday. Was I convinced that every player gave 100%? And I didn't need to answer the question, just let Fozzie answer it. And let me tell you, in uncertain terms, no player crosses that white line and doesn't give everything he's got. Now, what you don't allow for is the fact that he might be very nervous. He might not be able to cope with the occasion. He might not be technically good enough, but it won't be a lack of effort. But it's a common misconception with people, oh, he can't be trying. Load of nonsense. Absolute load of nonsense. And this is what we've got to get across. Now, that fellow went away, he enjoyed the conversation, we didn't batter him. He shook my hand and said, that was great, I was really honest of you and I really appreciated that. I'm in the bar, I'm up in the Agra suite, I'm sat here. If you've got a problem, come and see me. And if you've got a problem that I might not be good enough to meet your grandmother, bring your grandmother along as well and I'll have a cup of tea with her and she can make her own mind up. But don't tell me you can't trust me to meet your grandmother. What does that mean? You don't even know me. And I'm sure your grandmother doesn't. So I'm just getting sick to death of this backbiting, this sniping. I'm sick to death of the kissed statement. Who do I speak to now at kissed? I was moving things along nicely with Jeff. And who do I speak to now? I have no idea. I haven't pulled the rug from under them. To be perfectly honest, the boardroom changes. Mike Morris, who's as straight as they come, and he's been a great advisor and support to me over the last 12 or 18 months, he's one of the type of guys that I want a word with you. And I'll go, oh, here it comes. And he tells me straight. And I love that about him. Jeff Coles has worked himself into serious illness of late. Been match day secretary for us, travelled on the bus with the lads. The lads have had a bit of banter with him. He's been brilliant. He's done a great job for them. He's done a lot of work for me on the finance side of things, which he's got a great knowledge of. He's been a great support and advice for me. Great people. I don't want to kick them out. They've both agreed to become vice presidents with the same allowances that a director would receive. Both of them, because they appreciate what I'm trying to do, but they also still want to be involved with the football club. Now, I've kicked them out apparently. Long life supporters, I've kicked them out. I've given them the chance to have their role within the football club for life. But I've kicked them out. I haven't kicked them out. There are others that I'd love to kick out, to be perfectly honest with you. But it is what it is. I have to take the crap. I could say that, I suppose we can always edit it out.
That's about as strong as we can get, I think, yeah.
Which, no more. Absolutely no more. I'll take it if you come and speak to me face to face, right? No problem. but I'm not taking it anymore. I'm not reading it anymore. I'm not giving time to it anymore. At the minute, I'm not a dictator. I'm not the North Korean president as I've been linked, as likened to. I think you work for me, a lot of the people work in this building, the last thing I am is a dictator. I'm very open and very approachable, but I'm very, very determined that we will run a business as a business. And what business out there, and I reiterate, what business out there is run by a social committee with no experience and no expertise in the fields that they're taking on? None. And also no responsibility. None. So it changes now. And I should have been more sensible, and I should have been more like our manager, because our manager's been absolutely quality this year in not getting involved in any touchline shenanigans with any of the opposition, no matter how much winding up he's had. Now, when I did it for 20 games, I wanted to fight the world. I would have killed Paul Cox rather than look at him.
Steady now.
And you know, that's what I was like, because he wound me up. And he would say the same about me, but we're football people, you know. I got caught up in that banter. He's far tougher than I am, and I need to learn from him.
Yeah.
I need to stop trying to fight the world and just get on with my job. And he wouldn't fight the world in the other dugout because that detracts from the job he's doing and the focus he's got on the pitch. Now, I was rubbish. I was rubbish because I wanted them to believe as passionately as I did that my team was doing well. And there's no way I can make people believe that. I just have to go and do it. Doing it on the pitch is you win the game. Doing it on the pitch is you win the league. Doing it on the pitch you progress. Doing it as a football club, you make sure that you can pay your wages, that you pay your suppliers, that you've got a profit at the end of this season. You can invest more in the football club to help the success on the football pitch. That's my job. I've got to stop fighting with people. This is rant over, fight over. I'm going to focus on what I've got to do best, which is make this a successful business. So, they wanted a statement, you've got a statement. It's a statement of intent, and that's exactly where we are. With regards to all the other nonsense that's gone on, it wasn't of my making. It was not of my making. And so you have your hands.